It's the last day of the year 2015. Welcome to Business Incorporated. I'm Chimeze Obiwagu. Today marks the last trading day for most markets across the globe, but Frankfurt Stock Exchange closed yesterday for the new year. Also on the program, we will be looking at agricultural development in Africa and how farmers tackled their challenges in 2015. Plus, our commodity market update today focuses on the oil market. Well, today is the final trading day for most markets across the globe as all the markets prepare for the New Year holiday. Here in Nigeria, the market closed at 12 noon today, and Nollywood actress Omotola Kehinde was on the floor of the exchange to sound the closing gong. In Germany, the Frankfurt Stock Exchange closed yesterday for the New Year holiday. The DAX closed the year down slightly by 0.41% to 10,815 points as weak commodity prices impacted the shares of mining and energy companies.
Traders at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange said they expected a quiet end to the year on the last day of trading for 2015. Oliver Roth from Oddo Sedler Bank said investors had done their bit to try and make the market end on a positive note.
I think there was some window dressing yesterday on the DAX. We saw that investors are trying to make the DAX a bit prettier towards the end of the year because that's when we take stock of things. I think that it will be a quiet end to the year today and that we will come out of this year at around 10,800 to 10,850.
Looking back on 2015 as a whole, Roth said traders had been faced with many challenges through the year.
It was definitely a very exciting year with a lot of fluctuations, and that is why the investors had to have steady nerves to get through the year. With the DAX, we have seen an improvement of around 9%, and that should give the investors courage for the coming year. The DAX trend for the coming year will include just as much fluctuation as this year. There are many reasons for this. One is the monetary policy, which will play a role, namely of the Federal Reserve Bank and the ECB. Geopolitically speaking, we of course have a lot of crises which will also have an influence on the stock markets, such as Syria, Ukraine, Middle East. Also, the war against ISIS and terror attacks, all of these are risks which we need to take into consideration, and moreover, we will be talking about the economic dynamics, which show that we are in for an interesting year in 2016, and one for which we will need steady nerves.
Trading will commence again on January the 4th, 2016.
Meanwhile, in Asia, Chinese shares were higher on the last day of 2015 as trading volume remained thin, with some of the region's biggest markets closed ahead of the new year. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was up 0.3% to 21,947.07, while the Shanghai Composite rose to 0.2% to 3,579.81 in early trade. Chinese investors were looking ahead to manufacturing data due out on Friday. Our data should shed light on the extent of the slowdown in the world's second largest economy. Economists expect the manufacturing surveys to show factory activity shrinking again in December. Several markets are expected to close early ahead of New Year's Eve, such as Hong Kong and Australia, while Japan and South Korea are closed for public holidays. And still in Asia, China has launched its most sophisticated observation satellite, Gaofen 4, as part of the country's high-definition Earth observation project. Gaofen 4 was launched from the Xinjiang Satellite Launch Center in the southwest China province of Sichuan aboard a Long March 3B carrier rocket.
It was the 222nd flight of the Long March rocket series, according to the State Administration of Science, Technology and Industry for National Defense. Gaofen 4 is China's first geosynchronous orbit HD optical imaging satellite and the world's most sophisticated HD geosynchronous orbit remote sensing satellite.
The rockets have high reliability, high launching density, and high orbit injection accuracy.
The successful launch of Gaofen 4 was the 19th space mission in this year. It will be used for disaster prevention and relief, surveillance of geological and forest disasters, and meteorologic forecasts.
This is the final launch of the total H6 rocket launching in the 12th five-year plan period. China ranks among the world's top 3 rocket launches.
The Galfin project aims to launch 7 high-definition observation satellites before 2020. Galfin 1, the first satellite of the project, was launched in April 2013. Different from Galfin 1 and Galfin 2 in low orbit, which is between 600 and 700 kilometers around the Earth, Galfin 4 is located at the orbit 36,000 kilometers away from the Earth and moves synchronously with the Earth. It can see an oil tanker on the sea with a huge complementary metal oxide semiconductor camera, reaching the best imaging level among global high-orbit remote sensing satellites.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, we will look at agricultural development in Africa and how farmers tackled their challenges in 2015. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now, to push to see Africa grow its agriculture continued in 2015 with governments encouraged to improve infrastructure and technology for farmers. Areas being farmed by African smallholders are only producing around 1 metric ton per hectare compared with 7 tons in developed markets. An ongoing drought in southern Africa also affected crop yields this year and forced farmers to cut the size of their herds. The next report looks at how African farmers developed and tackled challenges in 2015.
Governments on the continent were being urged to spur growth in African agriculture and address the need to improve transport and power infrastructure in 2015. Banks were also encouraged to lend to farmers. The growth of Africa's middle class, combined with a fall in the prices of technology, has opened up opportunities for investment in farms on the world's poorest continent. In Nigeria, the government wants to boost the country's agriculture sector to reduce reliance on crude oil exports, cut back on importation, and generate jobs. Adeni Ibumi, a farmer, says aside from growing crops, he also offers plots here for sale to aspiring farmers. Though Bumi is passionate about farming, he says he faces challenges in making his produce. The rough road between Lagos and his farm makes it hard to transport produce to customers in the megacity, a bumpy 2-hour drive away.
Why toiling for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or 1 year before you get your yam, before you get the yam into the market? So people don't even want to invest. I would rather want to invest in a business that will bring the produce out so very fast. So apart from the image problem that the set of the farmers have, another thing is the issue of fund. It requires a lot of capital.
Across the continent in northern Uganda, the region is emerging as an agricultural goldmine, drawing in agribusiness investors. David Ojok now cultivates sunflower seed in Lira. He is one of about 70,000 farmers who grow the crop for cooking oil production under the Mokwano Outgrower Scheme.
We used to have a problem because of Kony, but he is now nowhere. It was a big problem to us, but now we walk freely. We can walk on our fields for long hours, sometimes until sunset. The panic that used to be there is no more. This has given us the opportunity to expand our fields and produce more.
In Lesotho, workers at the Highlands Trout Project were busy breeding fish for export to customers in Japan. The tiny African country with no coastline is using its Case Dam to run a fish farm project that wants to boost the country's economy and meet demand for the trout abroad.
We have a good catchment area. We get low temperatures, and that's suitable for the growth of our product, which is rainbow trout. Also, pollution and other problems that you get with city life, you don't get them here. You don't get disturbances. The fish can live peacefully.
In Zimbabwe, Majori Tereraye is The drought in the country was worsening due to an El Nino weather pattern threatening the diverse farm sector, including its key maize crop. Kitumetse said it was becoming difficult to sustain her herd. On average, one cow consumes 20 liters of water a day.
There's a severe drought here because we don't have food for the cows. We have to buy them food and it's not raining. When it doesn't rain, there are more problems.
Leon Masumbuko and his workers were in the forest just outside Kinshasa, capital of Democratic Republic of Congo, to harvest a batch of honey. 69-year-old Masumbuko was an engineer in apiculture 14 years ago to follow an interest in traditional methods of beekeeping.
Nous sommes heurtés à la tradition.
We harvest honey the traditional way, which is what people here are used to, whereby we kill the bees in order to get honey. But as we try, get better at it and improve the way we harvest honey, one needs proper equipment and also to get training. We have a long way to go. The main challenge is finding skilled beekeepers.
C'est au niveau des compétences.
Congo exports raw honey to Uganda, but the industry is relatively small in the Central African nation, known more for its minerals.